Everybody, welcome back to the VIP Financial Education YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. As the economy continues to get shakier and shakier, I'm sure you guys are feeling it. I certainly am. I have seen a lot of volatility. Even in my trade business, it just seems like people are having a harder and harder time paying for things. I'm going to continue to stress here on the channel how important it is for you to be diversifying and getting your money working for you. I just don't personally think it maths out that we can go to work day in and day out and still afford to pay for our day-to-day lives and also build wealth for the future. So today I want to go over another prefer method investment opportunity. You guys can listen to this. It's not going to be for everybody, but certainly people are clamoring to get involved with these. At the time this video is made, the deal I'm talking about is already 90% filled and it is producing a 28% cash on cash return if you choose to participate. If you do decide to jump at this and by the time you get involved, it's already full, there will be future deals and at least you'll be on the waiting list and you can jump at a next deal. There are going to be more and more coming and we're going to discuss that on today's video. If you hear anything you like, feel free to email in order to get on the waiting list. In order to do that, just send your first name, last name, and phone number over to Prefer, that's P-R-E-F-E-R at VIPFinancialEducation.com. And I'll put that in the description for you to make it easy to find. Prefer is an acronym. It stands for Passive Real Estate Flips Easy Returns. And we've been talking about these now for over a year. I've talked about the things I've liked so far and the things that have not gone according to plan. And in spite of having some gripes myself and even growing a little frustrated on the first deal that I invested in with our initial partner, Joe over at Maven Loans, those things still seem to be moving along and we're very, very confident that they'll work out the way that they were intended to, but will take longer than anticipated. And that's the frustration I have at this point is it obviously changes the return on investment if you think something's going to take 6, 8, or 10 months and it ends up taking 12, 13, 14, 15 months. And of course, there's plenty of things that are beyond control when it comes to fixing a property up and getting into the bones and going through permitting and architects and designers, getting it listed, and then getting the right buyer to come in and purchase the property. Markets shift, and there are many people that you can't necessarily hurry along as much as you'd like to. So I think taking that into consideration is really important, and I want to be very clear about that on these videos. This is not a risk-free investment like any other investment. There are going to be some risks, but I love how mitigated most of the risks are on these by way of having a secured collateral in a hard asset, being the real estate, by way of having extreme meat on the bone going into these deals, by way of having multiple appraisals done ahead of time before getting to the closing table, by having very skilled project management on top of these deals. But the thing I'm most excited about right now is the fact that we've also partnered with a second individual. This is an expert that actually specializes in the Florida market, which is where this property is located. And these guys are incredible. You can look them up, Southern Legacy. We'll be bringing Nick, the owner of that business, here onto the channel at some point. He can kind of go through how they go through the rehab process on these properties. But they seem to have a lot better handle than Maven has along the way because they have in-house crews with boots on the ground in the specific location. So they're just more geographically isolated. They have materials literally dropped off to the job site. They are literally saying everything and doing everything so far exactly as I would want them to. So they're very, very polished. You guys can decide for yourself, do some online research before you jump into a deal. But Southern Legacy is the name of the company. They've been involved in real estate for over a decade now, and this is what they specialize in, is the fix and flip process. So as I'd mentioned, this is a 28% cash on cash return. At the time this video is being recorded right now, it's 90% full. By the time you jump on and email your name over to the Prefer at VIPFinancialEducation.com email address, it may be full already. So there's no way that we can hold a seat for you. These things have moved so quickly. In fact, most deals have filled in under an hour, much less days. So there is an opportunity here. This is a totally passive process, which is obviously appealing to people. I've just got a couple bullet points I want to make sure I touch on today. And this is short-term cash on cash returns. Usually they're estimating 6 to 8 months. Because of the unexpected time extensions that have happened with Maven, I'm encouraging people who get in on these deals to analyze whether or not you'd still be pleased with a 28% return if it did end up taking a year. Or what if it ended up taking 13, 14, 15 months? Would you still be happy with that type of a return by participating in the deal? And essentially what you're operating is a lender. You're gap filling the 20% down payment, allowing then Southern Legacy to sign off on the 80% loan along with the construction costs. So once again, they are accepting the bulk of the risk in this process. In fact, Michael Matthey, who is one of the partners here on the channel, has such confidence in not just Southern Legacy, but this recipe in general, that he is personally guaranteeing these projects with them. We're very excited about being with them too, along with Maven, because it allows more of these deals to come up. That's the second biggest complaint that I've had and that others have expressed, is that there's just not enough properties for participation. People want to get their money working for them, but if there's a limited supply, it makes it very difficult to jump in. And now with the list having grown to over 200 people expressing that they want to get at least $50,000 into a deal, it's just hard to get involved. So Southern Legacy is opening up many more deals than what we would have had just working with Joe over at Maven. So the preferred method is expanding, and we're always looking for other great partners. We just try to do a lot of due diligence on the front end. And again, risk is something that we try to avoid. I'm a very conservative person by nature. I don't like to take any unnecessary risk, but anytime you're talking about a passive opportunity and you're talking about something that has a return as high as 20+%, it is very difficult to avoid risk. The other areas where I realize those types of returns or better have involved a lot of proactive obligations, and most people just don't have the time for that. So this is just a way for you to get your money working for you. Now let's talk about the deal specifically. This is 730 Penfield Street. This is over in Longboat Key, Florida, 34228. I'll put the address here on the screen for you so you guys can do some online searches yourself and check it out. The property is 3 beds, 3 baths. It has a total of 3,086 square feet. It's a 2-story and it sits on deep water canal. It's direct access to the Sarasota Bay. Absolutely gorgeous area. It's located in exclusive Longboat Bay. And it also has a really easy access over to the Intercoastal as well. The details of the rehab that they've put together so far is that they're going to actually add 2 bedrooms and another full bathroom. They're going to do a full remodel of the kitchen as well. We all know that those 2 things can add the most value to a property. They're going to have a primary suite remodel on this too. New windows will be installed, and they're going to start demo on the first story to create this open concept, and they're going to have this indoor-outdoor living space, which is super popular in that area right now. The expiry date on this is July 17th, and it's over 90% filled right now. So you've got to jump on it right away if you're interested. You only have a couple days left to email. The estimated timeline coming from them is 6 to 8 months. But like I said, I would always go into this saying, hey, if this is done in 12 months or less, would I be happy with 28%? What if it took longer than that? Would I still be happy with this? There are many factors that cannot be controlled, but because they do have crews, I have a lot more confidence and optimism, having learned what I did over the last 12 to 14 months about how they're going to be able to control this and get things done more quickly. The preferred loan total on this is $600,000, which is actually pretty small for some of these properties. The total investment includes the down payment. It has the mortgage costs involved, the closing costs, the construction fee and cost, the wholesale fee, marketing costs, and the 6 to 8 month carrying costs as well. There is no cap call on these too. So if it does take longer, it does not mean that we or they come back to you and ask you for additional money. So the preferred secured second loan, interest earned on this is going to end up being a total payout of $168,000 to those who participate. As long as you have $50,000 or more, you can get involved at least until that 600 is filled. That is the minimum participation amount, and it is fractionalized, which means that as long as a group of people come together, you could have 12 participants with 50,000 each, totaling 600, or one person could come in with the full 600. The buy price on this property is $1.675 million, and the mortgage amount is $2.277 million, and that includes all the construction holdback on this, with an estimated rehab cost, the budget being $855,000, and that is done by the construction partner, Southern Legacy. The appraised value on this property, wait for this guys, is $4.2 million. So when people ask, Why are they doing this? How can they do this? Why can they pay 28% to people like you and me who come in and fill that gap of $600,000 down with a $168,000 interest payment paid out at the end, totaling $768,000? Well, it's because they are then able to capitalize on an enormous amount of profit for themselves for doing all the hard work. This is the sweat labor and the expertise to get that done and go through all of the problems and overcome all of the challenges to rehab the property, get it on the market, and get it sold so that everybody can benefit and you get to collect the mailbox money. And then you can just roll it over into future projects. So guys, I just want you to understand how quickly these deals are getting snatched up. And the way that you avoid missing out is you email your first name, last name, and phone number so that you can get on the waiting list. As I said, that list has grown to over 200 people that are just waiting by their emails once there's an announcement made that a property is going to be released. What we've done for the last 6 months or so is we created sort of this teaser where we send out an email and we say, hey, a property's coming tomorrow. That way there's a little heads up so that you have a fair opportunity to reach out, because it is first come, first serve. Once that property is released the following day, you send in an email and say, I want in. You send in a letter of intent. They send you some instructions to get the wire over. All that is done through an in-house legal team that is managing the property, which sits in an entity and actually goes into an escrow account. All of this is done in a very organized fashion so that you can trust that your money is safe. So most of the time, these deals are not going to have time for it to get to the channel. So you can't just sit here as a subscriber and wait for me to announce it, typically speaking. The good news is this is the first property in a long, long time where I can remember there even being any opportunity to still get involved. By the time this launches and you're watching it right now, it may already be full. So I do apologize if that's the case. But while I'm recording it right now, there is still a very small portion of this left, $60,000 remaining, where somebody could jump in. So we added this new construction partner to help with the inventory issue, to help speed these projects up and get them in closer to that 6, 8, 10-month timeline versus the projects over at Maven that have, a number of them have even extended over a year now. A project that I'm in is now approaching a year. And again, that was not what I was told to expect on the front end. So you've got to come in knowing that certain things that are unexpected may hold these deals up with Southern Legacy as well. But having vetted them and see their reputation online, knowing that they're local to the space that we're working with, knowing they have these in-house crews with the experience that they have, and full-time project managers that are going to be looking over this. They have 3 full-time project managers and crews. They said that they can easily accept another 3 properties per month, totaling at least another 30, 35 to even 40 properties per year that would be available that we can open up to you guys here on the channel. So very exciting, but you are going to want to make sure that if you're interested in getting involved with something that's passive and you can get your money working for you, that doesn't require really strict underwriting guidelines. You don't have to go through banking. You can use money from any source. You're not being scrutinized from where that money is sourced from. Maybe you have retirement accounts that are underperforming. Maybe you see a way that you can even carve out a wedge with your HELOC. I demonstrated how I did that on the project that I'm in now. Literally, it could take 3 years for that project to close, and I would still beat the bank on the interest that I'm forced to pay on the home equity line of credit that I used to put $100,000 into the deal that I'm in. So tons of safety. It is a very risk mitigated recipe compared to everything else that I consider, where I have an opportunity to make 20+%. But do your own homework, guys. Check out the other videos in the playlist that I'll link in the description below as well. Guys, this is something where they do several appraisals on the front end, and I feel very, very excited about where this whole thing is headed. And I think a lot of the kinks through the first year are being worked out. And it does take time, but I think over the coming years, this is just going to keep getting better and better and better. And people who have gotten into projects initially are going to be the ones that oftentimes have first right to roll their money into new projects in the future. So this is only going to get tighter. It's only going to get more scarce. Make sure you email first name, last name, and phone number to prefer@vipfinancialeducation.com. At least be added to the waiting list. Get your questions answered. Somebody from our side or from Southern Legacy's side can call and at least talk with you a little bit about what your hope is and what your goals are and what your resources look like and whether or not this might be a good fit for you. This is not an arm twisting situation. Whether it works for you or not, people are going to fill this. This has no effect on us at all, but we do want everybody to have a fair opportunity to get involved if you're looking for ways to increase your wealth as the economy continues to get more volatile and things look like they might get tougher over time. So we're looking forward to potentially working together. Maybe we'll be partners on a similar project together or the exact same project together, and I would love that to happen. Until we see you on the next video, guys, thank you again for tuning in. My name is Matthew. Subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, as I always say, keep on cash flowing. We'll talk to you on the next one. Take care.